Let's do something new, shall we? We've done rounds, we've done Hungarian. Let's do a mashup. Are you ready? I'm going to invite you to rise. The lyrics will come on the screen. We're going to mash up We Shall Overcome and Lean on Me. So just follow the bouncing ball and follow the choir and you'll be in good shape. And then have fun.
Welcome and good morning to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is loving and healthy, and we commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower and become. Thank you so much for joining us here today for worship. And you are welcome here. Whatever your beliefs that sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity. And in all the ways you are still becoming a person. My name is Rick Brandt Kreutz. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a member of the Partner Church ministry team. I'm 64 years old as of yesterday. I have gray hair, gray beard, wearing a tie. Leading worship with me today is our minister, Reverend Mary Gear, and Troy Fisher, our music director, and the OUUC choir. We are pleased to have Reverend Zsolt Elekes joining us online from Kolozsvár, Romania. Reverend Zsolt is the school chaplain at the János Zsigmond Unitarian High School and the International Relations Officer with the Hungarian Unitarian Church. Reverend Zsolt has studied and served in both the U.S. and Transylvania, and we very much welcome Reverend Zsolt to the service today. Here are a few things you should know about our service today. We're streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see the sometimes creative subtitles on the screen in front of you on Zoom, and see them on Zoom if you're online. Over here, we have some fluffy chairs and activities for your hands for everybody to be comfortable. We are a multi-generational community, and we value our young ones and our kids. Kids, babies, teens are all welcome in the sanctuary. There is also nursery care and a story time program in the classroom wing. And we are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions with Reverend Zsolt. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. For those in person, feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. And then at 11:30, after the coffee chat, please return to the sanctuary for a Q&A session with Reverend Zsolt. Bring your questions about international, Unitarian, and Universalist movement, as well as questions about the OUUC pilgrimage that we're planning in the fall. Also today at 11:30, the Generation XYZ lunch will be meeting in a classroom. If you're a member of one of these younger generations, please gather for fellowship and food today. We will hold an annual Thanksgiving potluck again this year. All are welcome. Please look for the sign-up genius in the weekly announcements or RSVP Reverend Sarah. There's many happenings here at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. And now, let us open our hearts and our minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together. This morning and every morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, which is the symbol of our faith tradition. If you are online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light our chalices together with the words of Crystal Hogan. We ignite this flame, the symbol of our faith, to beckon us into community, warm our hearts with love, and give us a light to follow as we carry our faith into action.
Good morning. I think now the sound is coming from elsewhere. I am Zsolt Elekes, the person who was introduced by Rick, for whom I wish happy birthday as well from here, from Transylvania. Once again, my name is Zsolt Elekes and I use he, him pronouns, and it is an absolute honor and privilege to be in worship with you together. And at this time, I'm inviting you to celebrate what we know at our core all around the world. That blessings are real and our to claim and share them with anyone who crosses our paths. Rejoicing in global partnership means to open our minds to new realities of living on our planet. And faith is universal, and we share it with many people and cultures who may not speak the same language, but feel the same love coming from those who have faith. So come, let us worship together this morning in blessing, rejoicing, and faith.
And let's sing together again. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. We're going to sing hymn number 1043. It's a Kaylee blessing. We've sung this just a few weeks ago. Starts in Hungarian, then English, and then we'll switch it up. Tech deck, I think I only put 2 times through, and we're going to do 3 times through. So, good luck. We'll start in Hungarian.
Good morning. I'm Pat McLaughlin, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm a member of the Partner Church ministry team. My memory of our choir's visit to Kissolymos, Romania in April of 2004 are rich and full of the welcome of a loving community. We arrived in Kissolymos tired from a long journey, but exhilarated by new possibilities. We held our breath as our driver inched the bus over a narrow and unsure bridge to cross a river and proceed up the village streets muddied by spring rains. Sturdy farmhouses painted yellow, pink, and cerulean blue followed side by side with fenced yards, garden plots, and trees with the first buds of new life. A few people gazed up at us curiously from the streets. We waved hopefully. Some waved back and smiled. We arrived at the white Kissolymos Unitarian parish with its tall steeple and bell tower. We were greeted by the opening arms of its minister, Reverend Istvan, and his wife, Eniku. And soon, one by one, the congregation joined us, appearing on the doorstep after our sumptuous welcoming meal to take us to their homes for the night. Mary Jane, Allison, and I were welcomed by Bagi Dula, a handsome elderly farmer, Istvan nicknamed Sean Connery, and his wife Roza, a short, brown-eyed, rosy-faced woman in her ever-present headscarf and apron. They smiled at us and were encouraged by our first few hesitant words of Hungarian, "Jó estét," good evening, and "Hodi van," how are you? Although we found ourselves replying "Nem értem," I don't understand, in frustration at the language barrier between us, I felt that we did communicate and understand each other through shared emotions and experiences. I showed Dula and Roza pictures of my son, home, garden, and friends in the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. They responded with smiles, nodding their heads, and pictures of their 2 daughters and friends in their community. I then responded with smiles and my hand over my heart. When I laughed at the bawling sheep and lambs left at the gate by the shepherd each evening, Roza chuckled with me as she herded them into their enclosure. When I pointed to the Palinka brewing and bottling equipment in a back room in their cottage and shrugged my shoulders in question, Roza led me to the plum orchard, where they grew the fruit for the drink they shared with their community. When I smiled and thanked her, Kosinam, for the generous breakfast of hunks of farm bread, cold kielbasa-type sausage, and a large pitcher of Palinka, her brown eyes sparkled. She grinned as she replied, "Sivishen, you are welcome." And when Dula drenched Roza, Mary Jane, and me with eau de cologne one morning as part of the spring rituals of their 3-day Easter celebration, we all laughed heartily together amidst the fragrance of acceptance. And so it went in Kissolymos and other towns in Romania and Hungary. We met new people, were welcomed by stirring speeches, and guided on tours of schools, churches, and historic sites. We attended church services and performed in 5 concerts under Troy's inspiring direction. We were given presents of handicrafts and treated to bounteous meals of breads, cheeses, vegetables, land animals, desserts, and homemade wine. As I looked into the faces of the people in our concert audiences, I saw strength and weathered stoicism. When we sang Spirit of Life in Hungarian, "Roots hold me close, wings set me free," I saw beaming smiles and tears running down cheeks, and I felt my own. When we left Kissolymos on April 14th, we looked out of the bus windows at the people we had come to know, and we waved goodbye. This time, many smiled back at us and waved a long goodbye. I'm grateful for this journey we shared together and for the partners shown by those of the Olympia, Romanian, and Hungarian congregations who planned and guided us through this heart and spirit-felt journey. Today, there's not enough time to name everyone, but I would like to highlight my thanks to Francis Tanaka, who nurtured relationships with the Kissolymos minister and his wife, the Unitarian Universalist Partner Church Guide, and our translator, and who encouraged us to realize our dream of visiting Romania to work for peace in the world, one person at a time. In addition, my thanks goes to Troy Fisher for helping us communicate our dreams in a universal language, and for inspiring and coaching us to ever-improving a cappella harmonies. Finally, I want to thank our choir members for voicing together the shared emotions and experiences that connect us as human beings. The budded fruit trees burst into blossom during the 4 days we visited Kissolymos, and I felt so too did our new friendships with these welcoming folk, young and old. Now it is up to us to continue to care for this orchard, to nurture these friendships in our Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist communities, so that they may bear the fruits of our beliefs, including the belief in the worth and dignity of each individual, and the equal claim to life, liberty, justice, and peace on earth. Thank you.
We have a special treat this morning. A number of years ago, we were fortunate to help the Kissolymos congregation refurbish their organ. The organ was built by master organ builder Kolonish Istvan from Szegezfar in 1872. The organ continues to be played each Sunday during worship. And now we're going to hear the church cantor, Buzogai Lajos, play a hymn for us. The first line, O meg nem alvo svedteknek, or O for the love that never sleeps. Well, thank you. Thank you, Pat McLaughlin, and thank you, Reverend Levente Lorenzi, the minister at Kissolymos Parish, and thank you, Buzogai Lajos, for the music this morning. Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in the service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts, we create an offering. Together, we are able to do more than any one of us can do alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live and the presence of this community. If you are new or visiting us for a first or second time, you are our guest. We do not expect you to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of the offering, what you share will be most greatly received. Today's offering will go to support the scholarships and other projects benefiting our partner church, the Unitarian Parish in Kissolymos, Romania. In 2023, we provided scholarships to 6 students, and we hope to sponsor several students again this year. Over the years, we have helped to restore the historic Kissolymos Sanctuary, furniture, organ, and many other projects in collaboration with Reverend Istvan, Reverend Levente, and the Kissolymos congregation. Finally, if something you hear today sparks your interest or desire to participate or serve or to join our pilgrimage in the fall, please talk with me or any of the partner church ministry team members. We'll be at the table in the Commons today. Or talk to any one of our church ministers. Many of our congregation have visited Kissolymos over the years, and many may be willing to share their experiences with you as well. And for those online, just put a note in the chat of your interest, and we'd be happy to talk with you. So now, may the offering be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you so much for your generosity in all the ways that you share your gifts. This morning we do what humans have done since we existed. We gather in times of worry and in times of celebration. We come into our community bringing all that is on our minds and in our hearts. So let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of community. You will hear a drum beat as we share. Allow its resonance to enter your body. It is the heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of community. So right now I invite you to take a deep breath in and out. Feel the breath of life as it enters your body. Feel the earth beneath us. Feel the warmth of connection. We take a moment to acknowledge all the thoughts and feelings stirring as we begin to experience the consequences of the recent election. Consequences felt around the country and those felt closer to home. So take a breath with me now. And in this moment, I invite you to whisper or speak out loud a word to describe your feeling. For those online, please feel free to share in the chat. thank you for your sharing as we are together to build community and nourish the connections between us. And we place a stone in the water this morning with joy and gratitude for our connection to our Unitarian heritage. Grateful to the Partner Church ministry for nurturing our history, the history of our ancient faith that began in Transylvania and has grown around the world, rooted and strong here. And so now let's open our circle wide. For those joining us on Zoom today, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those of us in the sanctuary will see your sharing on the screen. Your sharing will be shared with me and the pastoral care team. And for those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. So let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we reach out our hearts in love and care to all who share today. We place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And we'll place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken this day. In this moment, let's harmonize our bodies and our breath. Please be in whatever way is comfortable for you to hum. So in a moment, I'm going to start humming, and I invite you to join me. Just pick a note and hum. You can change your note or stay on the same one or harmonize. Just hum and enjoy the vibrations that we create together. And I invite you to place your hand on your heart or your belly so that you can feel the vibrations in your body. We'll hum for a bit, and when our humming comes to an end, we'll be in silence together.
Wow, wow, wow. Congratulations. Hungarian is one of the hardest languages, and to be able to sing it in such a coordinated way, hats off. Thank you very much. It humbles to my heart that you learned not just one, but two Hungarian and Unitarian songs. It really shows how much you cherish this partnership and how much effort you are putting into a meaningful partnership. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today, as our reading, I'm actually sharing with you a story about our faith community, about Unitarianism and Unitarian Universalism. We humans have always looked up at the stars. This is why I'm showing you this picture. We have wondered about them and even told stories about them. During the many thousands of years that human beings have been looking up at the stars, we have changed our understanding of what the universe looks like and how it works. More than 500 years ago, a man named Nicolaus Copernicus was born in Poland. He watched the stars and planets and used his observations to come up with a pretty unique and upsetting idea. In this day, most people thought that the Earth was at the center of the universe. They also thought that the stars were little holes in a glass bowl around the Earth. Copernicus thought, what if the universe doesn't move around the Earth? What if the Earth is actually a planet circling the sun? And he wrote a book about this idea, which wasn't very popular, you can imagine. This is medieval Europe. Today, obviously, we know that Copernicus was right. Our planet Earth circles the sun, which is a star. It took a long, long time, hundreds of years, for people to finally believe this and to stop saying that the Earth was at the center of the universe. But for hundreds of years, the belief that the universe revolved around the Earth was so stuck in people's minds that it became part of religion too. It was kind of a religious belief, so when Copernicus said, I don't think the heavens revolve around the Earth, he was speaking as a scientist, but the church heard it as a challenging their religion. There is a word for that, heresy. That meant that not just scientists, but anyone could get in big trouble for promoting the idea that the sun was at the center of our solar system. Now, believe it or not, this upsetting theory of Copernicus intersects with the story of our Unitarian ancestors. Our Unitarian ancestors cherished this story. Not very far away from where Copernicus watched the planets and the stars, there is this land called Transylvania, a land of rolling green hills and mountains. The region from where I'm speaking to you today is where some of the first Unitarians built their churches and formed their faith, right about the same time that Copernicus wrote his book about the Earth revolving around the sun. Our Unitarian ancestors already knew that it was like to say and believe things that could get them in trouble. This was 500 years ago. One of these things was Egy az Isten, God is one. When they and we say that God is one, that makes us Unitarians, we are saying that we don't agree with the Christian doctrine that Jesus was God incarnate. We are saying that he was fully human. A lot of Unitarians in Transylvania and elsewhere as well died because they wouldn't stop believing or saying that. One of the villages in Transylvania, today part of Romania, but it's ethnically Hungarian as well, is Oakland, and this is where you are seeing this lovely Unitarian church tower. The church itself is over 400 years old. Like a lot of Transylvanian Unitarian churches, the church has wooden ceilings that is divided into deep square panels. Most of them have flowers or plants painted on them, some of them have coat of arms, but there is one special ceiling on this planet in the Unitarian Church of Auckland. It is a diagram of the Copernican solar system. You can see it written Systema Copernicanum. At a time when religion was opposing science, our ancestors in the remote mountains and valleys of Transylvania built sanctuaries that affirmed the discoveries of science. They did so even when the dominant religious culture advocated ideologies that allowed no new revelations. Let us celebrate, dear beloved members of the Olympia congregation. Let's celebrate these gifts, which have been woven into our religious DNA, that we belong to a tradition in which religion and science have never been forced apart or asked each other to be silent. We, as a people, encourage one another to explore and discover, to ask questions and declare that revelation is not sealed and will never be sealed, and to freely follow the call, whatever its source, that connects us most deeply to the world inside us and to the universe around us. And with these thoughts, let us start our worship and sermon, and I will start sharing our sermon after 10 seconds in which I'm allowing you time to meditate about our roots as a faith community. After this story and reading, you can say that you already know more about Transylvania than, Dracula, to address the elephant in the room. I think it's such an honor and such a blessing that our global faith community started in different parts of our world, and then it united by seeing that we believe the same things, we feel the same things, we think the same things, we are one. It's not just that early Unitarians, as Christian Unitarians, believe that God is one, and this is why we became Unitarians. Later, when technology and the modernization of our countries made it happen, somehow we found each other. In the northwestern part of the United States to the central part of Transylvania, somehow these communities realized that we are truly one. And we have been truly one since centuries. For hundreds of years, we were thinking the same. Our ancestors were thinking the same. Isn't this such a huge gift and blessing to realize that there are like-minded people around the world who can help us understand in different contexts the same problems, who help us see the life through our faith, but besides that, through different cultural lenses. It humbles me to be amongst you and to explore our faith and spirituality, especially given that we are on different continents right now and we are in way different time zones. We have sent our son over to you. I will tell you something that might sound controversial. Unitarians in Transylvania are Christian. The same is true for the Unitarians in Indonesia, who have had to defend their places of worship multiple times because they are Christian in a predominantly Muslim country. In Transylvania, while we are Christian, we are upheld by our Christianity, and Christianity was the struggle during communist years that upheld our communities. Our Christian faith might sound strange to the Unitarian Universalist here in the United States. I know, I'm perfectly aware of it. But it has upheld for centuries, and believe it or not, it contains more similarities between us than differences. Our friends and partners in the Khasi Hills, for example, in India, live under an increasingly Hinduist nationalist government, that does not empower any other religion but Hinduism. Yet, they live in the only region of India that is matriarchal, where women make decisions for the community. Isn't it fascinating how cultural practices can vary so widely, yet still share core values in Transylvania, in the United States, in India? For example, our friends in Burundi have faced horrific reprisals. Wibutsa, their minister, who was originally studying to become a Catholic monk, when he realized he could not believe the Holy Trinity, he was exploring the Bible and reading the Holy Scripts, and he realized that he does not believe in the Holy Trinity. This led to the start of a Unitarian revolution in his country, which eventually made him a refugee. He was abducted by the secret service of his country and had a gun pointed to his head when the international UU community intervened, exerting pressure through all possible channels, including the American government and the United Nations, to secure his release. And he now lives in Canada and attends Unitarian services there with his family. His life was literally saved by the international community. The international community, our Unitarian and Universalist one, is similar yet different. Our founder and first bishop of Unitarianism, David Francisc, notably said, and I'm quoting him right now, "We don't need to think alike, we need to love alike." We come from different cultures and continents, speak different languages, and think differently about many topics. I'm sure of that. Yet, we are united in, let's say, helping Ukrainian refugees in Transylvania, struggling for survival in Burundi and Indonesia, fighting right-wing extremism in Europe and the Philippines, and trying to maintain our liberal culture in India. In our soul, our essence, we are the same all around the world. And this is why these partnerships are so meaningful, that we can once again rebirth the idea that we are the same. We can once again explore the magic of partnership, of meeting new people whom we never met, never spoke the same language, never lived in the same country, and still we are doing the same work in our communities. This last Saturday, around 1,200, so 1,200 Unitarian people, members of their congregations, Unitarian congregations, marched towards Deva, where they commemorated the life and death of the founding bishop, David Francisc. Deva is a small city at the steps of a huge hill. Upon the hill, because it's Transylvania, there is a castle where David Francisc, because of his beliefs, was imprisoned. Over here in Transylvania, we are famous for Dracula, but more than this, we should be more famous that it was for the first time in the history of the world, this is where religious freedom became a law. David Francisc, our founding bishop and the founder of Unitarianism, the institutional Unitarianism, traveled to Western Europe in the 16th century to study theology. And when he arrived in Germany and Switzerland, he saw that many people are enemies to each other because of religion. He saw that the new wings of Protestantism, the Calvinists and the Luther formed Protestantism, are arguing with each other, and there was a rule of law back then, which in Latin was called cuius regio eius religio, which means whoever ruled the region dictated the clashes happened in front of David Francisc's eyes. He returned to Transylvania and he became the preacher and the court preacher of the king, John Sigismund. He had the power and he was asked if he wants to convert all Transylvania to Unitarianism. He had the power to do so, but yet He saw that there are wrongdoings in Europe, and he wanted Transylvania to be a saint place, to be a safe place, to be a sanctuary for people who believe about God, about spirituality. And this is how he advocated with all the Transylvanian nobles, being them Catholics, Protestants, reformers, or Lutherans. He advocated that there will be no state religion in Transylvania, but we are writing a law that would ensure that nobody is forced to go to a church where they don't want to attend, where they don't agree what they are hearing, and no preacher should be obligated to preach something against their values. And in 1568, that's the year when the Unitarian Church was born. That's also, together with the born of the Unitarian Church, for the first time in the history of the, we have established the religious freedom. I think this is what should be famous about Transylvania. I think this is what connects us all, that in times of struggle, in times of injustice, we reflect and we act. We know, because we feel it in our souls, what is right for this world. And we search for bravery amongst the members of our community, amongst our family and friends, if it's possible. We find the bravery to go out and do something good, do something meaningful, do something that will establish the rule of love and peace in this world. This is how we are inspiring each other everywhere around the world, beloveds. This is why meaningful partnerships are helping partners heal in moments of hardship, break out in joy when they are hearing good news from their partners, and carry the load of caring for a community by each other's shoulders. This is how a beautiful organ in Kissolymos can be restored to sound beautifully for decades and for centuries ahead, with your emotional and financial support. And this is how you can also be proud to proclaim that you belong to a faith that was the pioneer in many human rights milestones, including the proclamation of religious freedom for the first time in the history of the world, including painting the Systema Copernicana, the Copernicus system, in the ceiling in the 1600s, where it was not cool to be progressive, and it was actually very dangerous. This is how, amongst the turmoil of a pandemic, multiple wars around the world, of administrations with policies totally opposed to our, are taking power in different American and European countries, still, when we look up in the sky at night, we can see that we are not alone in this universe. Like there are many galaxies that we can see. And among those stars, you can see the one that has the Kissolymos name. And we over here can see the one that has the Olympia name. And it's comforting to know that amongst the many stars that symbolize hundreds of Unitarian communities around the globe, these two are shining for each other. These two are there to support each other whenever needed. These two are here today, united by values that are shared through centuries and past centuries, and will be shared in future centuries as well. This is what we are celebrating today. This is why I'm forever grateful to have been in worship with you together today. Let's unite forces, beloved partners in faith, to continue creating meaningful things together for a better, more just, and more loving world. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
Let's join together in singing our closing hymn, which is hymn number 358, Rank by Rank Again We Stand. We're going to use some recently amended lyrics, so you'll depend heavily on the screen for those lyrics. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit. If you're joining us online, the amended lyrics will be posted in the chat.
We extinguish our chalice with these words of Andrew Pakula. As we prepare to leave this sacred space, pack away a piece of this faith tradition with you. Pack it in your heart. Wrap it carefully like a precious gem. Carry it with you through the joys and sorrows of your days. Let its gentle glow strengthen you, warm you, remind you of all that is good and true, until we gather again here in this place of love. May you go with joy, go with commitment, go with love.
Danny, thank you, Kevin.